we're back. This week, we are going to be discussing the best value protein source per dollar per gram. All right. So how much does your dollar buy you per gram of protein? We're going to break it down. I took 100 of the most common protein sources sold at supermarkets throughout Australia, and we analyzed it so that we could find out what is the best value per dollar per gram of protein. We're going to be kicking it off with this post. Polska, how are you this week?
Doing well, bro. How are you?
I'm also very well, thank you. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. Here we go.
See, I always used to think back in the day that it was chicken and eggs back in the day. So I'm kind of curious to see what you got. What you got here, guy?
So I think that historically they were some of the best value. But times have changed, and now we have some new top numbers. Kind of surprising for me, but this is largely driven by the inflation that we've been experiencing in Australia. Like the cost of eggs has like almost tripled for the base price. And yeah, inflation has wrecked the metrics to a degree, but we found some nuggets. So it'll be good, very informative. So the title of this... Chicken nuggets. Yeah, they did not rank in the top, largely because they don't have a very high protein content because they're mostly cereals now. But yeah, so I titled this, Feeling the Pinch, Finding the Best Value Protein Source in Australia Amid Rising Inflation. So yeah, we've all been feeling the pinch with inflation. Our dollar is buying us less and less. And so yeah, I just thought it'd be a useful thing to find out. And it's also good to just like check, what are the most economical choices to make if you're still trying to hit your protein targets, right? And how can you hit them?
100%.
So, I took 100 of the most common protein sources bought from supermarkets. Okay, so this isn't accounting like bulk protein powders and things like that. This is just stuff that you can buy at the grocery store, namely Woolworths and Coles. I didn't do Aldi because there was no availability of the pricing and nutritional data on their website. So they were excluded from this because of that. A brief note on protein quality. It's because they're Australian. So a brief note on protein quality. It's important to mention that not all proteins are created equal. Proteins consist of amino acids, including 9 essential amino acids that our bodies cannot synthesize and must obtain from our diet. So these are crucial in determining the quality of a protein source. And in this analysis or study, I did not account for the quality of protein. So we just looked at total protein. We didn't look at the completeness of the proteins. And this is important because some protein sources that might be very cheap are not complete sources of protein. They'll be lacking some or all of those essential 9 amino acids. And they're the things we need to eat, right? Our body can make the other proteins, but we do need to eat those 9 in sufficient quantities to maintain our health and biological function, right?
Welcome to Good Meals. I'm Reuben. I'm the founder and developer of Good Meals, and I'm here to introduce you to a smarter way to approach your diet. Forget the one-size-fits-all meal plans. Good Meals is about precision, personalization, and simplicity. Not just a meal planner, it's a tool that adapts to you. Start by telling us about yourself. Your goals are unique, so should be your meal plan. Good Meals utilizes advanced AI to tailor every meal to your specific nutritional needs. Here's where it gets interesting. Our extensive database isn't just a collection of recipes, it's a culinary exploration. Whether you have specific dietary preferences or just what's available in your fridge, Good Meals finds the perfect recipe for you. And it's not just about variety. We focus on the nutritional value, ensuring that every bite takes you closer to your health goals. Join Good Meals today at goodmeals.health. It's not just about eating better, it's about revolutionizing the way you think about food. Because at Good Meals, every meal is a step towards a healthier, happier you.
So my methodology was really simple. To determine the cost effectiveness of each gram of protein, or each source of protein, I employed a straightforward approach, which was the cost per gram of protein, which I calculated by dividing the price per 100 grams of the item by the protein per 100 grams, okay? So key nutritional insights that we got from this: the foods in the data set have protein content ranging from 3.7 to 75 grams per 100 grams. High protein options can greatly vary in price, right? So that 75 grams per 100 is from a protein powder that you can buy from the supermarket. The energy supply. So the energy provided by these foods ranges like quite massively from 44.7 calories to 607 calories per 100 grams. So it highlights a wide range of calorie densities. Fat and fiber. So fat contents vary significantly from 0.1 grams per 100 grams to 50 grams per 100 grams. And fiber is present up to 15.5 grams per 100 in some items and 0 or close to 0 for many of the items mentioned here. So price, on average, each gram of protein costs about 12 cents with a range from 1.4 cents per gram to 32.8 cents per gram of protein, right? So huge variance there, right? Big variability. So we looked at it, or I looked at it, and the top 10 budget-friendly protein sources not accounting for quality of protein or completeness of protein, right, are the following. So we have legumes at the top with dahl and red lentils. Okay, so dahl came in at 1.4 cents per gram of protein, and red lentils came in at 1.6 cents. Yeah.
I didn't even know what that is. How do you spell it?
Dahl is like a type of lentil, DAL. So
really,
the top brand here was Katoomba Ingredients Chana Dahl, which is essentially what they use to make their curries. Or dals is what they actually call it. But it's a type of legume or lentil, I believe.
Oh, okay. Is it like a brown color? Look at some pictures.
Yeah, there's like yellow dahl, brown dahl, maybe red dahl, black dahl, I think. There's lots of different colors. But yeah, so the two top ones are legumes, right? Like they're legumes, plant-based. So it is important to note that the legumes typically are not complete sources of protein. Typically, they're quite low in methionine, which is one of the essential amino acids. So something to note there that we do have to account for that if we're trying to get a complete source of protein. But I'll be doing a follow-up post to account for all of that, and then we can re-rank them based on price and completeness. So then coming in at number 3 is the Woolworths chicken drumsticks. So these come in at 2.3 cents per gram of protein. Next up, we have another legume, not a nut, but peanuts, roasted and salted. So they're 2.4 cents per gram of protein. And it's also important to note that the peanuts are the one that have like 50% fat. So peanuts are also, I don't think they're a complete source of protein. I'll have to double check. But they're incredibly calorie dense. Do you want to do a quick check and see if they are?
I just know that they're not.
Yeah.
There's no plant source that's a complete protein.
Yeah, there is. Soy is apparently complete, but we're going to double check all of these things in future work. Yeah, they do say. Well, yeah. There people are now saying that soy is a complete protein source. So again, I have the nutritional information for lots of these food products, and so I will be doing a deeper dive into that, and we'll just see how complete it is. Right? It might just meet their threshold to now say that it is, but it still might not be. Or might not contain enough of those essential amino acids. So we'll see. But it's just interesting to note that peanuts are incredibly cheap per gram of protein, but they also come with a lot of fat, right? So they're very calorie dense. So they essentially are incredibly good value per calorie, if that makes sense. But again, we're not accounting for the types of fatty acids that you're getting, how many essential things are in there as well, etc. So coming in at number 5 is the RSPCA, which is the looking after animals well or making sure they have a nice life kind of vibe. Approved whole medium chicken comes in at 3 cents per gram of protein. So again, very good value. Then we have more plant-based ones. So we have red kidney beans coming in at 3.1. Simply tuna in spring water, 3.2 cents per gram of protein. So that's pretty good value. This is a hilarious addition, Mayfair Knob Devon. So do you know what Devon is?
No, I have no idea what that is.
Devon is a highly processed meat product. It's like sandwich meat, if you would call
Okay.
it that, but it's incredibly highly processed. It comes in like big, like 1.5 or 2 kilo rolls, and it looks like dog food.
Yeah, that was like a popular thing that kids used to bring to school for lunch. When
Yeah.
we were
What's it
kids.
called where in Canada?
Like that type, like those types of meats.
Yeah.
My mom used to call them cold cuts. I don't know why she called them that. I never heard anyone else say that. What was another one? Because I used to work at a grocery store. I'm trying to remember what we called them. Damn, can't remember. Yeah, but my mom used to say cold cuts.
So cold cuts is what people refer to that category of sliced meats, right? Like, so meat that's cold and then you slice it. And Devon is one thing that you slice, right? It's more like a Spam, if that makes sense. Like, Spam is ham in a can, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's so highly processed that it kind of loses its hamminess, if that makes sense. So it's the same as with Devon, but again, very popular in Australia, especially in the lower socioeconomic class. It's typical to have 2 slices of white bread with with a slice of Devon and some tomato sauce. That was, or maybe still is, a very common snack, or little lunch or lunchtime meal for people. So at least they're getting some protein. I don't know how complete it is. And then we got pork leg. So a boneless leg roast comes in at 4.2 cents per gram of protein. And then number 10 is black beans, right? So kind of interesting there. With this next bit, I've plotted all of the 100 foods.
Have you ever eaten black beans before?
Yeah, I've eaten black beans. Very common in Mexican.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
I have eaten it.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. So the legumes rank really high, right? So we know that legumes are a source of protein. They're typically not complete source of protein, which is why you have to be mindful. You can't just get all your protein from those sources, because you will still be deficient in those essential amino acids, right? So here we have, on the x-axis, we have the price per 100 grams of the food, right? So this is, if you take the price per kilogram, divide it by 10, you get the price per 100 grams, right? That's what we're using down here. And on the y-axis, we have the cost per gram of protein in dollars, right? Or cents, right? So dollars, but it's, broken down. So the lower it is on the y-axis, the better value it is per gram of protein. And so you can see that, there's a decent trend here. And we've got some of these dots, like these pink ones out to the right here, that are outliers, right? Like they sort of break the trend. And these are protein powders, essentially, right? So these are, this is a plant-based protein powder. And then the lowest one, the first pink dot to the right, is a whey protein powder, whey protein concentrate. So
what's your opinion on protein powders, by the way?
You go.
What's your opinion on protein powders?
They can be a very useful tool. Yeah, they can be a very useful tool.
For convenience?
For convenience, they have their place. And they can be a good value source of protein that is very convenient. Depending on the brand that you get, will dictate the quality that you're getting and whether or not it's complete. But most of them do try to be complete by adding or enriching with the essential amino acids, so that they can be a very good option. But as we see here, out of the protein powders that were analyzed in this analysis, these still aren't the best value sources of complete protein. That's why these are outliers, because the price per 100 grams is quite expensive, but you're getting a lot of protein, right? So back there, it said the variability between the range of protein per 100 grams varied a lot, from like 3.1 to 75 grams. And these are the 75 grams. Like, these are the protein powders are the ones that have a high protein content per 100 grams, which is why they're sort of skewed to the right there. We'll keep going down.
Other than that, though, beef seems to be the priciest protein, right?
From animal sources?
No, like what? Just from food in general, like pushing supplements aside.
You finish?
Yeah. No, I have. You know what I've noticed, dude? Doing these podcasts, that I will say something and then I'll repeat the exact same thing I said again. So
Yeah, it's tough with a time delay.
I do that a lot. Right? I'll just like reiterate the same point 2 times in a row. So I'm just trying to say what I want to say, and then just let you go. You know what I mean? So
All
like
right.
just wasting time. But yeah, other than protein powders, beef is probably the most expensive protein.
No. So in one sense, yes, beef is pricier, but there are forms of beef which we'll look into as we progress here that are actually really cost effective. So and beef again is a complete protein. Plus you get heaps of other nutrition from beef as well, like heme iron, carnitine, a whole bunch of other things. You can even get omega-3s from beef, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, we'll get into that in a sec. Now, on the pricier side, these are the top 10 most expensive protein sources that were analyzed in this study, right? And so what we can see from here is that processed products and products that are advertised as being protein rich, right? Like, so, protein drinks and things are typically going to be the most expensive. So we have Musashi Protein Crisp Choc Brownie, comes in at 22 cents per gram of protein. We have Woolworths beef eye fillet, right? So a very luxurious cut of beef, comes in at 24 cents per gram of protein. Then we have the streaky rindless bacon is 24 cents. Macro Mike healthy protein brownies, double chocolate, come in at about 25 cents per gram. We have another protein bar coming in at 25 cents. We have another plant-based protein bar coming in at 26.5 cents. We have an Atkins low-carb chocolate-flavored protein shake coming in at almost 30 cents. And then the same for these. So what we see is that these processed products, or these products that use lots of color and keywords in their marketing strategies, you're paying for that. Like, you're paying a lot for that kind of stuff. So these are hugely more expensive per gram of protein than those other options that we saw, which were from Whole Foods again, right? So they were whole food based things that were a lot cheaper. So down here, I actually have this graph. Okay, not the greatest of quality due to the size, but anyway, we can work with it. So we see that we have the foods ranked, right? So number 1, number 2, all the way down to number 100. And I've categorized these foods into just broad categories, right? So we have legumes, chicken, seafood, processed meat, pork, soy, beef, dairy, protein product. That's a product that's marketed as being high in protein or something like that. Eggs, we have an other category, and then turkey and lamb, okay? So what you'll notice is that the top 2 are legumes, and we have chicken, then we have another legume, and then we have chicken again, kidney beans, and we have tuna coming in at number 7. And then we go down, we've got Coles tuna in olive oil coming in at number 11. Then tofu, okay, so tofu is coming in at number 12. And we have chicken breast fillets coming in at number 13, about equal to tofu in terms of price per gram of protein. And then we've got pork, cocktail frankfurts, which is a highly processed meat product. Then we have lentils coming in at number 16. And just to note that that's a tin form, it's not a dry form. That's why it's a little bit more expensive. Then number 17, we actually have gravy beef. Okay, so there's a beef product in the top 20. Chickpeas, number 18. Tasty cheese coming in at number 19. And then number 20 is Coles Wellness Road unflavored whey protein concentrate. So that's one of those protein powders. So it made it into the top 20. And then eggs didn't make it to the top 20, but they are in the top 25. And coming in at number 21 is the extra large cage eggs, which is a bit surprising. But it isn't when you factor in inflation and you see how expensive eggs have gotten now for us. I don't know. What are they in Colombia? What's a dozen of eggs cost you?
So I buy 30 at a time, and I'm buying 30 for between 16 and 19,000 pesos. So if I get the AAA eggs, it's 19,000 pesos. So here, I'll tell you in USD. So 475 USD for 30 eggs. So we should, because they don't sell that way in Australia, right? They sell by the dozen, yeah. So here,
we can.
we'll
You
do
can
a
still buy
price
them in
per
bulk.
egg. All right, well, we'll just do price per egg, and then I'll just multiply it by 12. So it'd be $1.90 for 12
Yeah, that's
for a dozen.
So you're paying. I just converted it to Australian dollars. So you're paying about 24.8 or 25 cents per egg.
And that's considered really expensive because like same thing happened here. You know what I mean? When I first got
Your
to
eggs are
Colombia,
still cheap there.
yeah, they're still cheap, but I remember paying maybe like 12,000 pesos for the AAA for the 30. You can get packs of dozen, but it's just better to get they sound like these large
buying
like
in bulk.
yeah, that's how they sell them here. But it's funny because they will, like, if you go to like a mom and pop shop, they will sell you one egg if you want, and people do that a lot. Like they'll buy maybe 2 or 3 eggs. So that's where those big packs come in, but you can buy like a whole pack. But yeah, dude, it used to be it used to be 12,000 for 30, which is $3 American. So I think like what's that? 1.4 times out by 1.4 to get the Australian. So $4.20 it used to be for 30.
Yeah, that's a bargain. But your eggs are still cheap. So you're essentially paying like $2.50 a dozen over there. Whereas here we're paying like close to $6 a dozen now. So it's more than double that. But okay, so some interesting things I just want to point out, right? So fish tends to be more expensive, right? So even like your really sort of cheap, low quality fish is quite expensive, like your bassa fillets, classic bodybuilding food. So Coles Deli bassa fillets come in at number 32 here. And yeah, let's not discuss the quality of that fish. Really bad. Anyway, so there are some surprising things, right? So we have like a couple of processed products like these garlic butter chicken breast Kievs come in at number 24. So they're a decent source of protein, or a decent price per gram of protein. Interesting to note that dairy starts to come into play as we get lower down the list. So there's this Rockaby Farms probiotic yogurt, natural yogurt. It came in at number 23. Chicken mince is number 22. And as we go down, number 25 is probably like one of my go-tos now. So salmon is typically really expensive, and it is typically farms, right? So when you buy fresh salmon, it'll be orange and it'll have these really big fat seams in it. And that's typically a farmed salmon that you're buying, right? When you buy a wild caught salmon, you'll notice that the color is very different. It's more red and the fat seams are very small. It's almost impossible to see with the naked eye.
More
and
fits.
so they're completely different nutritionally. Yeah. And the redness comes from
upstream.
Yeah. And also just, eating a more natural diet, so to speak. And that's reflected in the color of the flesh. It gets a redder tinge due to the diet, right? So there's a more astaxanthin in there, which is a potent antioxidant and a bunch of other cool things. Anyway, so Coles pink salmon, tin salmon. This is a wild. It's advertised as being wild caught, right? So it's not farmed salmon, and it's said to be from Alaska. It came in at number 25 in terms of price per gram of protein. Now, this is huge. One, because in each tin, there's like 2.5 to 3.5 grams of omega-3s in the tin, right? Like, so very nutritionally dense in terms of essential nutrients. We're talking about the essential amino acids and essential fatty acids. There are 2 essential fatty acids, omega-3 and omega-6. And salmon is a great source of those omega-3s. So it's a seriously good value product to consume for nutrition. So when I re-rank these based on nutritional content, I think salmon's going to be up the top there. I think salmon could be close to number 1. Then we come down and we get into like the pork and beef mince. So the combined pork and beef mince is number 26. We have pumpkin seeds. They're called kernels in Australia, but pumpkin seeds coming at number 27. Again, probably not a complete protein source. Then we have Steggles turkey mince coming in at number 28. And then we have an Aussie classic, the kangaroo mince. So this is coming in at number 29. Now, kangaroo mince is or kangaroo meat in general is really interesting. Have you ever eaten kangaroo meat?
No, no, I would love to try it though. I was gonna ask you how it tastes. I've eaten horse meat though, by accident.
Yeah. Horse meat is meant to be is said to be very nutritionally dense and is said to give the consumer of it a sense of well-being.
Sure, probably, maybe, but I remember when I ate it, I was like, "Yo, what the fuck happened to this ground beef?" And I was with a buddy. I was like, "Yo, try it," and then they were like, "Yo, like, yeah, it tastes fucked up." And we finally found out that it's because we bought horse meat, like
Oh wow.
ground horse meat, whatever. I was in Chile at the time, so I didn't even know. I just pointed at what I wanted, and I wasn't speaking very much Spanish. Yeah, I'll get like a pound of this ground beef here, and end up being horse meat. Yeah,
Horse. What a
it
surprise.
tastes kind of weird, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be gamey, is what I would say. And that's the same as with kangaroo. Kangaroo is very gamey. Now the interesting thing with kangaroo is it's our like one of our national. It's on our national emblem, so we eat something that's on our national emblem, which is kind of weird. But there's a huge amount of kangaroos. There's more kangaroos in Australia than there are people, by far.
Really?
They're a marsupial, yep, and they're incredibly lean, right? So kangaroos have a very low fat content, so they're pretty
they're
much
fucking
like
jacked,
muscle,
too.
muscle, tendon, and ligaments and skin, right? Like that's pretty much kangaroo. So it's a gamey flavor. It can be delicious like when it's done well, and the type of kangaroo that you eat will dictate how tasty or gamey that it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good source of protein. There is a lot of kangaroos in Australia. One interesting thing to note here is, who do you think buys the most kangaroo meat in the world?
China. My answer for everything is China now, guy.
It might be China now, but it used to be Russia. So when I looked into this,
right.
Russia was the largest purchaser of kangaroo meat, and what they do is they buy it because it's just protein, right? Like kangaroo meat is just protein. Like there's like little to no fat, and it's very lean, and yeah, it's just pretty much protein. So they buy it and they enrich a lot of their processed food products with kangaroo meat to increase the protein content. So
really?
When I looked into this, they were the largest purchasers of kangaroo meat. So kangaroos aren't farmed in Australia. They're a wild animal or marsupial. So they roam freely. And so we have people that actually go out and kill the kangaroos. Like, so they're like contract killers, so to speak. And they'll go out at nighttime and they'll just shoot like, hundreds of kangaroos. And they put them into these like portable refrigeration containers, like so a shipping container that's been retrofitted to have a cooling system in it, and they'll just like shoot a bunch of kangaroos. They put their tags on it, and they hang them in these chiller, like these shipping containers that are fitted with cooling systems, and they leave it there. Then they get paid based on the kilo, the amount of kangaroos that they've shot and delivered, so to speak. So pretty interesting, but it's quite expensive to buy kangaroo in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, for something that's so readily available and is essentially like, it's not like a pest, but it's like, people cull the kangaroos because they don't want them eating the grass that the cows could be eating or the sheep could be eating. It's very expensive. Hence why it's only
I wonder why. Maybe
number 29 on the list.
Maybe because they're not farming it, eh?
I think that, and also because I think the amount of demand from foreign countries to buy it,
that
has
always
sort of driven the price up a bit.
For locals. Yeah. What would it be like farming kangaroos, by the way?
You just need mad high fences.
Yeah.
Because they can jump. They can jump really high. It'd be seriously hard because the amount of money you'd have to spend on infrastructure would be so much more that it probably wouldn't account for the value of farming them. So you just let them run wild. Like that. This is their natural habitat. They thrive in Australia. Like there's so many kangaroos. Like it's ridiculous how many there are.
What do kangaroos eat?
Previously, grass.
Really? And there's that much grass for them to be eating in Australia? I thought most of Australia was like the
Barren.
barren lands.
Yeah, well, so it is, but they're incredibly well suited for it, and they won't necessarily live where there isn't food, but they're very efficient movers, right? So they move very efficiently. So kangaroos have huge tendons on their legs, right? And so they don't use a lot of muscular energy to drive their movement. They rely a lot on tendons, so they store that kinetic energy and then release it. Yeah. So they're very efficient in how they move. And kangaroos also have an interesting bacteria in their digestive system that means that they don't produce methane gas. So they're not like
Environmentally
everyone
friendly.
gets on. They're incredibly environmentally friendly. They have a very
They'd
low
be paying
impact, and
next to
because
no
of the
carbon
way,
tax.
yeah, legit. And so based on the way that they move as well and their footprint, they actually have very low impact on the land in that regard. So yeah, I think kangaroos will be a protein source for the future for sure. But yeah, so they came in at number 29. So it'll be well for some places it'll be bugs for sure. I'm definitely not getting on the bug bandwagon just yet.
Fuck that.
Not a fan. So yeah, they just made it into the top 30, and then we have chicken mince number 30 there, and then prawns came in at number 31. So prawns are actually an incredibly rich source of protein, very low fat, but can be high in histamine. So some people can have a problem with that. But prawns or shrimp, as the people in North America like to say, are a good source of protein and quite cost effective as well. And so as we get further down the list, we come into things like meat pies, good old Aussie meat pie, number 35 there, yogurt, cheese, and we got turkey mince, chicken thigh fillets, number 39. So chicken thigh fillets are not that good a value for money relative to chicken breast or drumsticks or whole chicken. So what we see here is that anything that's processed, you're essentially paying a bit extra for. And number 40 is oysters in olive oil, or oysters in oil, not olive oil, but just oysters in oil. Again, another nutritional powerhouse, super high in zinc and a bunch of other essential minerals and vitamins. So they're very good value as well. And then we come down to like lean beef mince, right? So that's number 45. But lean beef mince is number 45. Beef mince, just like the cheapest beef mince, is actually better value to buy. So beef mince comes in at number 41. So this is typically, like, I think in America or North America, you call it like 80-20. 80-20 mince,
like
or
protein,
ground beef.
fat.
So my understanding of how it's presented in America is they'll say, like, when you buy ground beef or ground meat, it'll have like a ratio of protein to fat in it, essentially. And so
we do percentages
80-20
in Canada.
Yeah. So you might have like a 90-10.
I don't remember what it was, but it would just say like, it would have a single digit percentage. I don't remember if there was a double digit percentage of what it was. Right. And obviously the lower percentage is the leaner it is, but yeah, that's how it works in Canada. Okay.
So, well, then this would be Woolworths beef mince works out to be about 80-20. So, 20% fat, 80% meat, so to speak. And so that's typically like the cheaper version. And so that's number 41. And then you have your leaner stuff. So the lean beef mince would be like a 90-10 fat to meat ratio. And that comes in at number 45. So it is the age-old question, the old bodybuilding question is like, is it cheaper or is it better value to buy, fatty mince, or is it, or should you spend your money on buying lean beef mince? And the answer is you should buy the fatty beef mince because it's still better value per gram of protein. And on top of that, when you cook it, you get the beef fat or the tallow, and you can render that. You can keep that to cook delicious things in, like potatoes and things like that, eggs, and all the yumminess. You can use that tallow as another form of fat to cook with. And it's a really good source of fat to cook with. So that was kind of surprising. And then we come down, we got a whole bunch of just like processed products, fish fingers and smoky barbecue ribs and all the rest. Lamb is very expensive. So lamb leg steaks, number 65.
Actually,
we got a bunch
of lamb.
Yeah, me too. Big fan of lamb.
Love lamb. I haven't eaten it forever,
it's
though.
Delicious.
But yeah, mad good.
It's a big thing in Australia, but yeah, it's quite expensive. And then we have, so like your T-bone steaks and things are going to be expensive. That comes in at number 60. One of my favorites are these wild sardines in olive oil, they come in at number 57. But again, with that, you're getting like plus 3 grams of omega-3s in every tin. So even though they're not like, top 50 in terms of value for money per gram of protein, they do come with a bunch of other essential nutrients that I think when I re-rank these based on nutritional value, will push these up to somewhere up to the top, right? I think they could be in the top 10, top 20. Then we got a whole bunch of other like processed things. John West. So buying name brand products typically destroys the value. So John West Wild Alaskan Red Salmon in a can is number 70. And this actually has a lower omega-3 content than the Coles Pink Salmon. So when I looked at it, it actually has less omega-3s in it than the pink salmon that is also said to be wild caught from Alaska. Then we got like rump steak and all these kinds of things coming in. So steaks are expensive. And right down the bottom, we have like your processed products. Okay, so these processed products are very expensive. You can see the difference here. So yeah, kind of interesting, right? When you look at it, price per gram of protein, the price varies a huge amount. It's massive. Any questions about this, Guy?
No, I would agree with you about the salmon, by the way. If we were to rank these by like nutritional punch, I'd be putting salmon right around the top as well.
Yeah.
Mainly because of that omega-3, man. And then I'd be putting beef up there too. Beef has a lot of good like minerals in it, higher in iron. The protein
B vitamins.
Eggs has excellent digestibility. Like you can digest
choline,
the proteins from eggs really well.
Whole bunch of other really good essential nutrients in eggs as well. So yeah, again, when I re-rank these based on nutritional values and content, I think we're going to see some different leaders at the top there, which will be interesting. So I thought I could finish just with a couple of little practical tips here for the budget conscious person who's also into nutrition. So here are some strategies to maintain quality nutrition while being mindful of expenses. So buying bulk reduces the cost per serving for almost everything, right? So whenever you're buying bulk amounts of this, you'll pay less per 100 grams or per kilogram. And that's a good way to save money. Beware of marketing, right? This is probably the number one thing to take away from this. Products marketed as protein sources like protein bars, shakes, and cookies tended to be more expensive per gram of protein than whole food options, right? You're paying for the branding, you're paying for the marketing. So anything that looks colorful and comes in the packet and has all this words and everything else on it, you're essentially paying for that. You're not getting good value for money there. Seasonal shopping can make a big difference, right? So buying things that are in season, like fruits and vegetables, but also meats, right? So, when at certain times of the year, meat will be cheaper than at other times. You can take advantage of that to buy ahead and store it in a freezer. Meal planning. So meal planning in advance can minimize waste and unnecessary purchases and take advantages of better value protein sources. And also, there happens to be a platform that I've heard about, like Good Meals, that can make meal planning almost effortless. And soon we'll have this feature in it where you can actually meal plan and set a budget, and it will find you the best value sources and construct your meals out of those sources. So this is going to be a very important feature, I think, moving forward for people. So this will allow you to still get your nutrition, but it'll also allow you to get your nutrition within certain constraints like budget or money. Also a good feature. But that's all I have for that one, dude. That was a fun exploration.
Yeah, nicely done, guy. That was well organized. Well done. Nice investigation.
All right.
You should try and get this published.
Thank you.
Maybe you can have our friend as a co-author.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, no, definitely. That's a good idea, actually. I'm going to hit our friend up about this. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. That is our analysis of over 100 most commonly purchased items or protein sources from Coles and Woolworths in Australia. Stay tuned for a deep dive into the nutritional content of these foods and a re-ranking based off nutritional quality. Thank you very much. Peace out. Bye.
Love you, bro. Peace.
Love you too, guy. Bye.